Hi everyone, Lindsay Castle here. Before I begin, I want to take the time to say thank you for listening to my presentation about the application of human performance technology in the area of instructional design for online courses using the ADDIE model. Throughout this presentation, I am going to provide an introduction, discuss what human performance technology and instructional design is, how human performance technology applies to instructional design, and provide a conclusion. So let's begin. As educational technology, and human performance technology continues to grow and evolve, so does teaching and learning methods. New technological advances such as laptops, tablet devices, artificial intelligence, and even virtual classrooms have opened up windows to advances in interaction, networking, learning, and even personal development. HPT is the analysis and learning of how technology can improve human performance. In order for educators to identify, develop, and implement the most effective instructional methods and technology tools for online virtual classrooms, they must first go through HPT training. The application of HPT in the area of instructional design for online courses using the ADDIE model can improve overall knowledge, awareness, and sustainability. Before implementing HPT into teaching and learning methodologies, educators must understand what HPT is and how it affects their online courses. There are multiple definitions of HPT, but according to Kane and Molenda, HPT is viewed as a systematic process that is outcome-oriented. HPT takes a holistic view of performance where analyses are completed in order to improve performance. To address the causes of human performance issues or improving performance, HPT interventions are to be selected by performance technologists, PT, based on performance gap analysis. The 8-category HPT model suggests interventions that PTs select in order to support performance gaps within learning and performance. According to Zagura and Gao, the HPT model was developed with a main goal of answering two questions in regards to solution designs. 1. Under what circumstances will we admit a performance support solution? And 2. How do we design it to achieve maximum effectiveness? The HPT intervention selection model addresses both audience type and process type. The audience type differentiates the target audience based on the role life cycle: learner, intermediate, and expert. The process type differentiates performance gap process: frequent, rare, complex, and high risk. Human performance improvement, HPI, is the understanding that humans are naturally flawed and subconsciously surround themselves with systems that are flawed as well. Identifying and treating gaps between the actual and desired performance involves the integration of HPT and HPI. Educators can address these gaps by applying HPT and HPI techniques to their instructional design methods when developing online courses using the ADDIE model. Instructional design models are used to show various approaches in developing and implementing multiple phases into online course design. The ADDIE model is the most important instructional design model used today. The 5-phase model is comprised of analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. As educators implement the ADDIE model into online course development, they're able to revisit each phase since there is no strict linear approach within this model. During the analysis phase, the main goal of the course must be identified, allowing for educators to develop effective instructional design. The design phase uses any research or data found during the analysis phase in order to identify the most effective learning content, learning solutions, design methods, as well as assessments and instructional methods. The development phase includes creation and testing of methodology, identifying opportunities for improvement before implementation phase. Next, the implementation phase. This is where online courses are put into action, where the targeted audience is able to complete the course. And finally, the evaluation phase. This is the last phase and is where desired goals versus actual outcome are evaluated, measuring the effectiveness of the course. Next, we're going to discuss how HPT applies to instructional design. According to Fauché, Hashami et al., Moore and Comiskey, Song and Kidd, and Stewart, improving performance in online courses can happen with the implementation of HPT skills. In order to improve performance in online courses, a redesign of learning solutions implementing HPT must take place. In learning communities made up of educators, instructional designers, and PTs, relevant course design is identified, which improves the online course classroom atmosphere through leadership skills and learner independence. According to Song and Kidd, e-learning is a powerful tool in which guides learners to look differently at learning. The use of educational technology specifically can also be a powerful tool that provides positive outcomes as a result of using the HPT methodology. As the need for distance education continues to grow, new instructional methods and design strategies are to be brought about. To understand the expected outcome of implementing these new instructional methods and design strategies, educators must be first trained on HPT and how to implement it in the classroom. In order for educators to gain additional content and skill knowledge regarding online learning, online HPT training programs were developed. Attending these online professional development and human performance HP training programs provide educators with tools and knowledge to improve teaching methods and gives them the perspective of a student when online learning and teaching methods are put into place. The number of colleges and universities offering online certificate programs, courses, curriculums, etc., focused on HPT has increased immensely in the last few years. UNC Charlotte's Instructional System Technology program offers courses tracked back to the standards from the International Society for Performance Improvement. According to Martin, two of the main focus areas of UNC's Charlotte's IST program are 1, providing leadership in the field of instructional technology, and facilitating technology integration for learning and performance improvement within supportive communities of practice. And 2, modeling and promoting reflective practice, digital citizenship, and the ethical use of instructional design and technology with diverse learners in the 21st century learning environments. The HPT course offered at UNC Charlotte is mandatory and provides students with the opportunity to work on performance problems with real-life clients. Multiple HPT topics and concepts are presented to students during the class, including HPT system models, several approaches to solve HP problems, and PI interventions. As the need for instructional designers increases, UNC Charlotte's IST program will continue to stay up to date with the continuous changing nature of instructional systems in HPT, preparing individuals for the work world. University of West Florida's UWF Instructional and Performance Technology program offers degrees within multiple disciplines including career and technical education, information technology, and instructional and performance technology. Similar to UNC Charlotte IST program, UWF's IPT, HPT programs are built on the standards from the ISPI. According to Hastings et al., the HPT skills of which are touched on in all of UWF's HPT programs are conducting comprehensive performance gap and cause analysis, selecting, designing, developing, and implementing appropriate solutions, managing the change processes, and evaluating results and impacts. As students progress through the IPT program at UWF, they have the opportunity to experience real-world HPT projects, applying the knowledge, skills, and abilities learned throughout the courses, enabling them to solve performance problems for real-life clients as well. Faculty at UWF has designed and developed their online courses to provide students with an educational experience notably better than most courses and colleges. Due to UWF's consistent enrollment growth, they were able to hire on an educator with 30 plus years of HPT practitioner experience who's able to provide students with tons of real life PI problems and situations. Since technology and instructional teaching and learning methods are continuously growing, educators themselves must grow as well. However, certain colleges, universities, K-12 educational settings, and even educators may be steeped in tradition and show resistance when change is mentioned. Traditional learning may have once been the end-all to the teaching and learning methods used in education, but is this really how educators should continue to teach? Well, according to Stewart, traditional learning is provided in a unidirectional manner from educator to student and limits all individuals involved in the learning process. Within academia, learning communities consisting of both instructional designers, developers, and HPT professionals must team up to develop effective instructional course material involving all relevant subject matter experts, SMEs. When utilizing learning communities and involving all learning team members in developing learning solutions, human performance is strengthened the most. The discipline of nursing is highly relatable to that of HPT due to the two practice models, both of which are based off of the ADDIE instructional design methodology. 1, the assessment and identify gaps. 2, diagnose and cause analysis. 3, outcomes and planning and design interventions. 4, implementation and implement interventions. And 5, evaluate, assess efficiency. Those who implement HPT theory and practices as well as the nursing process appreciate the meaning of small success are great. Think about that. Small successes are great. Both understand and realize improvements in performance and a healthcare system term such as obesity does not happen overnight and will eventually improve if all the right items are put into place. Another similarity is preaching does not work. Think about that one. Preaching does not work. In terms of healthcare and nursing, No matter how many times you try to persuade someone to take care of themselves better or do, the right thing for themselves, you essentially have no power over them and their internal mindset of changing that you can't change. In terms of HPT, if a training or retraining is conducted, a slight performance improvement may occur, but it may not last for long. Lastly, look at the matter through their eyes is another meaningful saying that nurses and HPT practitioners can appreciate. In the HPT world, learners may not choose to make performance adjustments based on any type of training conducted. Therefore, they're not buying in and ultimately diminishing performance improvement measures. They're not wanting to change. As for the nursing and healthcare world, if a patient is instructed to administer medicine in order to reduce risk of infection, and they do not perform such a task because they're not impotent, that's a different story. Every educational facility develops yearly goals, and educate instructor is to help students reach those predefined goals, since schools depend on students meeting those performance goals. So just like standardized testing, okay, schools depend on students to perform well during those testings. As 3 different high schools in Afghanistan realized students are not meeting the predetermined performance goals, they implemented the HPT model and began an analysis of their performance goals, which identifies the potential causes for the gaps between actual and expected performance. In order to address performance gaps, these high schools were to propose new designs or learning solutions to improve performance and performance sustainability. The complexity of higher education institutes, HEI, has increased within the last couple years due to the evolution of technology and innovations. As technologies and instructional approaches change, the need for performance improvement increases. According to Amona, HEIs need knowledge management (KM) tools that will help support individuals during operation or process changes so they can continue to grow and develop. In order to improve performance, the design of processes and new technological tools must be implemented as one, understanding who the organization is, the learner, motivators, skill sets, and others. It is extremely important to understand who the learners of the training are in order to design good learning experiences for them. If you're able to learn about your learners first and identify any potential gaps, the learning experience will be better as well as an increase of performance improvement. Throughout the last few years, the application of HPT and instructional design for online courses using the ADDIE model has continued to grow, evolve, and transform. Implementing HPT into online course design is extremely important as the performance outcomes are always being thought about. The more an educator logically thinks about design and how the implementation of HPT will improve overall knowledge, awareness, and sustainability, the better off they will be. Their courses will be effective and performance improvement will last rather than quickly diminishing after a course. Although it is not always visible that HPT is applied to online course design, the thought process and methodology is what drives it. Without the thought or application of HPT, an online course design turnaround will decrease. Well, that was it. Thank you again for listening to my presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through any of the methods of communication listed here on the screen. And just wanted to go through my list of references that my presentation material is based off of. Thank you.